You know this is my personal hell, right?
Absolutely. I'm glad you're here.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Mash and Drum. We are here with my very special guest, Dominic Guglielmi. He is here. I'm here in his Blanton's Museum of a Basement. Dominic, you've been on my channel before. We've done a couple live streams together, but I've never made it here. And I think I've reluctantly were like, I don't know if I want to go there, dude. But now I'm here. And I got to give you a lot of respect. This is incredible.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, you did avoid it. I mean, as a crow flies, what, maybe 10 minutes to get to my house, and you know, it's been an open invite. But thank you for being here.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do today, and you know, for those of you that do not know Dominic, we're gonna kind of dive into a little bit of his history and how the Blanton's bug got him, and a little bit about his collection. We'll dive into his book. But a lot of you have kind of heard about that, you know, especially on my live streams. If you kind of go back, I'll put the links above here in the video. You guys can go check out those live streams if you really want to kind of take a deep dive into Dominic and his book. But really today, because I'm here in the collection area, we are going to not only try and see some really, really unique, just crazy Blanton's bottles you have never seen before, but we are also gonna drink the highest proof Blanton's ever bottled by man, right?
Absolutely.
Is that what it is?
Yep.
And this is legit. This is the highest proof.
It's the highest proof, 141.9 proof.
141.9 proof. It's a Hazmat friggin' Blanton's, and we're gonna drink that a little bit later. Yep. A little bit of a tea, so you gotta stick around to see how that happens. But today, well, to start here, I am drinking, tell me about what I'm drinking here. It's pretty delicious.
Yeah, this is a Takara Gold, which is the Japanese gold. It's aged about 2 years longer than the one that we have here in the US, and it is generally available internationally, so it's
it tastes like it's aged longer.
It's like a caramel.
This is an absolute caramel bomb, however you want to say it. It is very rich, vanilla. Why can't all Blanton taste like this?
Well, it's the good stuff tends to go overseas just because of the Japanese ownership, but yeah, unfortunately.
All right, Dom, so just to kind of kick things off, tell us a little bit about yourself and how this all started.
Yeah, so this is the culmination of several years of hard work. It really started about 2017, where I was gifted a bottle of Blanton's. I had never been much of a bourbon guy, and I probably only knew about Maker's Mark. That was kind of the only real bourbon I knew, and didn't really like bourbon. But I got into it because I was gifted a bottle, and you know, I fell in love with it like any good tater because of the little horsey on top.
I get it.
You know, and then it became this obsession because I couldn't find it. Even in 2017 or so, you couldn't find it, at least here in Ohio. And so that the chase was on. And so soon I found on the internet the Japanese varieties, and I was traveling at the time for business to Japan, so that was a great way to find more bottles. And then I found a lot of these rare ones, which, you know, I have here now in my collection, and I had to have them. So I got into it. I didn't think I was going to collect them all. I thought at first I was just going to document the brand, which is why I started my website, warehouseh.com, just to kind of catalog it for other enthusiasts like me. And then that led to the obsessive compulsive collecting that you now see here with what I proclaim, and I don't think it's been challenged, is the most complete Blanton's collection assembled.
Yeah, and guys, and you're going to be seeing some really beautiful B-roll shots here of his collection. I mean, he's got bottle after bottle after bottle, and bottles that you just will never see. And you have said that you have bottles that if you lost, you'll never find again.
Yeah, there's multiple bottles that I was lucky to probably find them at first. There's only a few known examples in existence with other collectors who I'm in touch with. So, you know, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity to buy it.
So now you mentioned in your book, Warehouse H, and we'll talk about that a little bit, that there were a couple of bottles you were still on the hunt for to complete the OCD collection that is your Blanton's collection. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you have acquired those bottles?
I have acquired them, yep, since I just published late last year, you know, less than 6 months ago. I still was on the hunt for 2, and in the past about 3 months, I've finally gotten both of those. So.
And what were those bottles you were looking for?
One of them was an older La Maison de Whiskey, which is one of the French releases. It goes to France every year. One of the early varieties of that. And the other was something called the My Only Blanton's bottle. It's the sister bottle to the one that we're going to drink today, which is the 141.9 proof. So those were my 2 elusive bottles. Now I want to caveat this. There is still one bottle that I don't have. But I never really mention it because nobody has it, and that's a La Maison de Whiskey. I believe it's 2012. Nobody has it. There's a picture of it. It's in my book. It's on my website. La Maison de Whiskey did offer this, but no bottles have ever surfaced. And so we all kind of collectors talk about what would we do if we ever found one of these. You know, how much you mortgage your house, sell a kidney. So I kind of forgot. I forgot about it because I don't think I'll ever own it. I don't think anybody will. So.
All right, so with that said, let's get into your book. You obviously were getting into Blanton's. You were collecting for several years. Yep. What prompted you to want to write a book? I mean, I know you were cataloging it on warehouseh.com. So was that just kind of the next step where you just had all this Blanton's information you felt like you wanted to share with the world?
It was both of those. It was the next evolution. I'd learned so much in my collecting journey that I sort of was almost triggered, I guess, as the kids say now, with some of the misinformation that was out there. You'd see people post about Blanton's. For example, I told you earlier we were talking about the green variety, Blanton's Special Reserve. People will claim it's a rye version, things like that, And so I kind of realized I had all this knowledge, and I had deep knowledge, and I felt like the next natural step was writing a book to share that with the world. And beyond that, it was really about satisfying the compulsion, right? I hunted for so long, and the fun was in the hunt. And after that, I needed another passion project.
Well, I think we could all, we can all, correlate with that, talking about, because a lot of, whiskey is the thrill of the hunt.
Yeah.
And I think, so you get to a certain point, you're like, all right, if I find these last 2 bottles,
right,
I could always be doing that, but
right,
what can I do in the meantime? So the book was the next step for you.
Absolutely, and it was a great journey. I think about, I reflect on the book. It took me so many places. I was already in the process of traveling internationally. I did go to France, La Maison de Whiskey, I visited them, back to Japan a few times. But the research side of it was just as much fun as the writing. Just learning, going to the depths of the internet, finding little teeny factoids that had never been uncovered before. And sometimes they were most trivial or meaningless, but they appear in the book as a sentence. And it's fun for me to reflect and read the book myself now and remember kind of where I got sourced some of that information, and just the journey it took me on to get it.
Yeah, me being a bourbon nerd and like even reading about it and some of those little tidbits that were in there, I was completely blown away by some of the little pieces of information in there. I remember you telling me that not all Blanton's is actually aged in warehouse age.
Yeah.
It is for
some period
at least
of time.
a small portion of its time,
Yep.
but not exclusively.
Absolutely, and that's not new knowledge that I uncovered in the book, but it's maybe generally unknown. But effectively, you can do the math on how much they're producing a day, and how long it takes to age Blanton's, and it just doesn't add up. And so, I've spoken to several insiders who, off the record, who've said, they age it. A lot of times they'll start it in other warehouses and finish it in warehouse age. But it's also not just about them. They're not trying to game the system. Most distillers do that because they don't want all of their product. It's almost a liability to have all of your product from one particular brand in a warehouse.
In one warehouse.
You got to remember, Kentucky, right? Tornadoes, floods, fires. It's all happened. So it's really not.
That's
deception.
all the world needs is a Blanton's tornado survivor. We already have that with E.H. Taylor.
Take my money.
Yeah, where are you going to get
Take my money.
This guy already wants the bottle. So I haven't real yet. All right, so how did the book sales go? You know, we did a live stream together. It was kind of right in the midst of the launch. It's gotten a lot of great feedback. I know a few people that have read it and they're absolutely in love with it.
Yeah, it's been great reception so far. I think I'm over 5,000 copies, 5,300, and we're sitting here recording this in April of 2024. So it's going fast. It's only been on the market for less than 6 months. For me, I never thought I'd sell the first run I did, which was about 4,000 books.
Yeah.
So I'm already on my second printing. It's a great gift. I'm really pleased with how many people have responded with reviews and comments to me about not being able to put the book down. Just even if they didn't love Blanton's, even if they maybe kind of had an issue with it, really finding that they resonated with the book and the history, and that's what it's all about. The book is not a love letter to Blanton's or Blanton's being the best. It's a historical book about the importance and significance of Blanton's that also accurately, I think, reflects the current culture around it, which does have some challenges, and we've talked about that and the tater culture and so forth, and I embrace that. I don't necessarily try to promote it and say it's great. I think
you actually talk about that in the book.
Yeah.
You say, listen, it's not the greatest bourbon in the world, but and like for me, when I was reading it, I found it pretty incredible how many different types were out there and the different type of commemorative bottles that have been around.
I kind of think what is interesting is you think about Age International as the United States company that is owned by Takara that effectively is who contract with Buffalo Trace to manufacture Blanton's. And so Buffalo Trace gets all of the love for Blanton's. They also get all the hate for Blanton's, but they control very little about it. So all the online chatter around they try to control the market and they hold back bottles. And it's absolutely not true. They're making as much as they can. They actually added a third shift a few years ago when they introduced straight from the barrel and gold in the U.S. So unless they increase their capacity to bottle, which is currently the bottleneck, if you will, in their production cycle, there's really nothing more they can do. And Age International, Takara, has to approve it. And so, love or hate Buffalo Trace, don't hate them for Blanton's conspiracies, because it's
so because Takara owns it, there's some red tape that Buffalo Trace has to go through. It's not all in Buffalo Trace.
Yeah, exactly. They're effectively contract distilling it, and it's it's interesting too because that interweaves back into the history of the distillery itself. Because in 1999 is when Buffalo Trace became Buffalo Trace. Before then, it was technically George T. Stagg Distillery, more commonly called Ancient Age Distillery.
Yep.
And they rebranded it because Ancient Age is one of the brands that Takara and Age International own. So, they effectively didn't like their company being called a brand that they didn't even own. They were just contract distilling. And that's one of the reasons that it was basically changed the names to Buffalo Trace.
So does Takara, is it their call? Like, why don't we get some of these higher age Blanton's bottles?
It is effectively their call. The extra aging goes all the way back to the 90s when these bottles were introduced. So the gold, the black version, which is the 80 proof version, is aged longer than the green special reserve.
Oh, you mean the rye?
No.
I'm only messing with you, sorry.
And then the Takara Red, which is the 93 proof.
So
just like the one we have here, but aged a little bit longer. Those all go to Japan, those older varieties. And that was all, and still is, because they own it. And so they will continue to dictate that. And I don't see it changing anytime soon, because clearly the bottles that they do produce here or sell here in the U.S. fly off the shelves as fast as they can make them. So
and the stuff here is what, 4 or 5 years old now?
There's no technical age statement. The distillery and Age International have been quoted as saying 6 years on average. I do speculate in the book without any proof. What's the incentive to age it any longer than 6 years? In fact, because 6 years isn't required, what's to say it's not 5.5 years? Again, the product sells out immediately. So
it doesn't matter what's in it.
It doesn't matter. And I think the proof in that, and I talk about this in the book, is in the taste. If we taste a Dusty, which we've got several tonight we'll taste, it's just remarkably different 20 years ago from today. And they haven't changed the mash bill. Supposedly. They haven't done anything else that would account for that, other than probably that extra aging.
Yeah, you shared with me 2 bottles, a Le Maison du Whiskey, single barrel out of France, and then you also shared with me a single barrel from Poland, the dark blue label, which are two of some of the best stuff I've had in a Blanton's bottle.
Yeah,
and
you wouldn't put it down, or
the car owns it. They can do what they want with it. A lot of people, like you said, I think it's a great point to bring up that Buffalo Trace gets a lot of that blame, and it's just not accurate.
Yep.
What are some of the interesting tidbits now that the book has been out there for a little while?
Yeah.
What have been some cool, I don't know, comments or questions that you've gotten? Did anyone try to challenge you on anything that you wrote?
You know what? Surprisingly, honestly, no. I expected, being a new author, never done this before. I expected, other authors, big whiskey authors, industry experts, YouTubers, whoever, somebody to come at me with something and say like, hey, dude, that's wrong. and then of course, I'd humbly, okay, I'm sorry, and research it and fix it for the next version or something. I honestly haven't had that. And I don't know that that's necessarily a testament to me just having done my homework or what have you. Maybe it's because people are just like, it's Blanton's, who the hell cares, right?
Yeah.
But honestly, no, nobody's really come at me with that. I think what's been surprising to me is the feedback. So many people, and maybe viewers on your channel, may not love Blanton's and may hate it for a lot of valid reasons, right, with the culture and the taterism. But again, the book is historic, and it's going to talk about how Blanton's really helped make bourbon what it is today, at least helped sow the seeds for this bourbon revolution that we've had over the past 15 or so years. And that's what it's all about. It's about respecting the brand, even if you don't like it.
Yeah, guys, obviously, if you haven't gotten your hands on a book, I'll put a link down below if you guys want to grab one. It's a great read, especially if you're into kind of the bourbon geekery that's out there. That I love to read a bunch of books. I whipped through that book, and I don't even think it was a week. It was such an easy read and so much good information. But before we move on to all these great bottles, I do want to talk about the room a little bit, because we'll be showing some cool B-roll here of the room. You have right in front of us here, you have it is just endless horsey tops.
About 200 maybe?
This is my nightmare just coming to life, like right
marching
now.
Along.
Just marching along like they're all going to attack me. They're all coming after me. This is crazy.
Yeah,
That's a lot of horsey tops. You have this interesting cabinet over there with all this different pieces of merchandise. Yeah. Everything from Blanton's golf balls, Blanton's flip book, which you showed me, which I think was really, really cool.
Yep. Lighters.
A Blanton's watch, which, what'd you say? You paid like $1,000 for that watch?
I wrote about it in the book, so that's why I talk about it publicly. I paid $1,000 for that damn watch. It's plastic, it's crackerjacky, but I had to have it.
You had to have it.
And I proudly, display it and regret every moment I don't. But speaking of merchandise, I got a little surprise for you. So you are, of course, the biggest Blanton's fan. So I've got two vintage Japanese merchandise for you. The first is a keychain. Oh. And the second is a deck of playing cards, Blanton's branded playing cards.
Oh,
so there's
that is just so awesome.
These are vintage 1990s, I'll say early to mid 90s Japanese. So add those to your
I'm going to add this to my collection.
Yeah,
dude, thank you. That's amazing.
You're quite welcome. It's not drinkable, but hey,
little cards. It's not drinkable. I'll take it. I'll try to play a little Blanton's poker with some people with this.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, man.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right, so some other cool little tidbits in this room is the glass case with the silver edition Blanton's bottles, which we'll talk about a little bit. Sterling silver. That is beautiful. We have all these bottles right up here behind us, all in line. It's just everywhere you look in here. This whole barrel here behind us. Was this kind of your vision for the room?
Yeah,
you think?
I did.
You think you kind of nailed your vision?
I did.
You even have 100%. A poker table with a custom-made Blanton's poker table this guy has.
And chips.
Which you'll take a look at.
I took it to the next level. I was already going to remodel my basement, and I was collecting at the same time, and I realized there's still pictures out there of my janky shelves in my old basement, which was just not appropriate even to show publicly. But I realized I needed to make it the museum it needed to be, and that's what I did. So I designed the entire basement around the Blanton's collection. Although it's still just a bar that can be filled with regular bottles if the Blanton's collection.
I know, but there's something about all the bottles just kind of collectively in a row. It's beautiful, man. You're a tater to the extreme, but this is like respect. I give you all the respect in the world for building this, and to have the gumption to just track these bottles down and to kind of complete your collection, which is amazing, except for the toasted Blantons, right?
No, there is no toasted Blantons. We have discussed this
I keep calling out fake bottles to him, so he's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, right.
Then he wants to like hunt it down.
That's my nightmare is when I have a Facebook like tag where I'm just like, oh, what is it that I haven't seen? And then it's like, somebody thinks there's toasted.
Yeah, there is, however, a char for Blantons, which we will be showing. All right, guys. So enough about that. Let's get into some really cool bottles. This is the reason why I came. Kind of talked about Dom, talked about the book. Let's get into some of the more intricate details of his collection. All right, so Dom broke a box out already. He's already breaking out the boxes. What do we got here?
This is a rare one, and I've never tried this. This is a South Korean release. It's an 80 proof special reserve, so probably going to be a little underwhelming. But what makes it rare is it's a 500 milliliter size, and so the bottle itself is, it sits there between that 375 milliliter that we do have in the U.S. and the 750, and it's a rare size. They've only done 3 times in the bottling history of Blanton's, twice for South Korea, and then once for a Japanese special release.
So you want to throw a regular bottle next to it?
So we'll show the size difference here. It's a 500 size, and this actually isn't legal. The 500 milliliter size isn't legal.
Yeah, there you go.
Put that down right there.
Get a look at it.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah, so you see the size difference here with the smaller one. You said this is an 80 proof, right?
This is 80 proof, so probably not great. This bottle, I have multiples of this. This came in a gift set, has a couple glasses in it, and I have multiples. This one came to me leaking, so value wise, it kind of really trashed it, and so I said, well, what?
So we're opening it because it's leaking.
Well, let's just try it.
All right, let's try it.
All right, well, let's dive right in.
All right, so here's our small bottle. 80 proof. Let's give it a go.
Yeah.
Oh, it smells dusty.
Oh yeah. Wow. I got cherry. Big time cherry.
Very cherry.
Yeah. Isn't that like super cherry?
Like Twizzlers, like fake cherry.
Yeah.
Like confectionery cherry.
Jelly Belly.
Oh, Jelly Belly.
Yeah.
All right, cheers, man.
Cheers.
Let's try this one. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's a really beautiful, just simple 80 proof bourbon. But again, the beauty of those dusty bourbons, like older bourbon. When was this bottled?
2006.
Oh, it's not that dusty.
Not that dusty, but
that's a very significant difference in what Blanton's tastes like today.
Wow.
Which is crazy. This is way more cherry, and I think Buffalo Trace inherently has a lot of cherry in there, cherry and grape sometimes that you pick up in their bourbons. But this one is pretty extreme on the cherry side, but it also has that little bit of like a butterscotchiness to it, which is this is my jam.
Yeah, this is good. I mean, this is the kind of thing you want to start drinking at noon because you're not gonna get too messed up.
And again, a little bit of like that dusty funk.
But not overwhelming. I mean, I've got some other dusties where you've got to like dusty funk because that's the predominant.
Yeah, it's almost over the top funk. Yeah.
Oh, this is wonderful. I mean, for an 80 proof, I don't generally like just the newer releases of the 80 proof black or green. This is fantastic.
Do you know if the mash bill has always been the same for Blanton's throughout its history?
I dove into that, and unfortunately, Buffalo Trace just keeps everything so close.
Yeah.
We don't really
know what mash bill 2 is anyway.
Right.
But I'm just wondering, in your studies,
the one thing I can definitively say is that in the 90s, it changed from a charcoal filtering to the chill filtering we have today. Okay. So early Blantons, before mid-90s, really about the time that the Sazerac acquired the distillery.
And this is before the lettered horsey tops, too.
Correct. Yeah, which are a fantastic part of any collection, I just want to say.
Yeah.
By the way, can we just say, at least, I mean, that's going back to 99, right? At least they're kind of OG when it comes to that stuff. I mean, collectible keys, like, come on.
No, honestly, listen, I'll be the first one to say it. Blanton's is the most, probably the most perfectly marketed bottle of bourbon in the world.
It is. And they got lucky with the bottle, by the way.
Yeah.
They sourced this bottle. It was used twice before Blanton's. Kentucky Tavern and Bourbon Supreme were 2 brands that used it prior.
Bourbon Supreme
dated all the way back to 1968. So what's interesting is they did not design it, and even on the distillery tour, sometimes folks will get it wrong and say that Elmer Thiele created the bottle. He didn't create the bottle. It's all in the book, though. The stopper, everything, how they arrived at this, and it was a stroke of genius that it took 20, 30 years for it to really start paying off. But
it is. All right, guys, Dom's about to crack open another sample of something pretty rare here. So here we go. All right, Dom, here's the next bottle. This may look like a regular bottle of Blanton's Gold, but I'm assuming it's not.
It is not. This is the Golden Promise La Maison de Whiskey. So this was bottled especially for the Golden Promise bar, which is La Maison de Whiskey's bar in Paris, France. La Maison de Whiskey, of course, the Paris alcohol importer and wholesaler or retailer of bourbon and many spirits, a lot of different varieties of whiskeys from around the world. And yeah, they had this. This was 2018. They actually just this year had another special release done just for their Golden Promise bar. But I've never tried this. I was fortunate enough to have a sample of this sent to me, and so I'm really excited. It's a Blanton's Gold, and so it's the standard 103 proof gold. But you can bet, because this was specially picked for La Maison de Whiskey, that it's going to be good. So
but it's also we're looking at an older. This is probably.
Yeah, it's probably at least an 8,
at
maybe
least
a 9 year.
Maybe
yeah,
9.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
it was handpicked, so you know it's going to be good.
All right.
So this, we're going to try.
Oh, dude.
Have you ever seen Jason this excited about Blanton's?
Nope.
Closet tater.
Listen, man. I don't want you to hear about the new sherry finish Blanton's coming out.
Don't tell me that.
It's gonna be only 2 bottles.
Right. I will have one.
Only 2 bottles in the world.
Take my money.
Okay. I'm actually getting a little bit of like a wood varnish on this.
Yeah, a little bit.
You got that? Yeah, like a wood, like a wood polish like type note. And I think that's that higher proof that sometimes I do get in Blanton's Gold. But I do get some more oak on this than I normally get in Blanton's Gold.
I definitely get the oak.
All right, man, let's try it.
Yeah,
you ready?
Let's do it. Yep.
You've been wanting to try this?
I've never had it. Yeah.
Okay, here we
we go.
Oh, so that finishes darker than I thought it would.
It's like dark. I get dark chocolate.
Oh my, dude, you totally nailed it. I was waiting for like this cherry cotton candy note,
right?
And I got straight up chocolate.
Yeah, unbelievable how it smells versus how it finishes.
I love when sometimes bourbons do that,
Yeah.
where you what you smell is not really what you get on the palate.
Yeah, the last one, the 80 proof, was cherry, but this was
Oh, that is so chocolatey. That is a cherry cordial, like chocolate covered cherries, but more chocolate though than the cherry. The cherry's more on the nose.
This, if you don't like Blanton's, that's okay. But try to acquire one of these special releases, because it's not even the same product. Let's be honest.
Or just come to Dom's house.
Or come to my house, right? Bring food, something, I don't know. We'll share.
All right, we got another fun one to try. Here we go. All right, guys, we are back with another bottle. This is something a little bit more modern. Now, this is the most recent. We talked a little bit about La Maison du Whiskey. This is the most recent single barrel that they released out of the shop. Tell us a little bit about this one.
Yeah, so they did multiple barrels this year. This is actually the lowest numbered barrel. They did only 100 and I want to say 40. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but very very low production out of this barrel. This is barrel number 40, and it's 100 proof. And it's good. It's we've tried. You mentioned we've tried some others. I wouldn't say this one here has set itself apart from other recent releases. This proof point, at least. Maybe some of the other versions from this past year were a little better. It's good. It'll be interesting to compare it to the 103 proof that we just tried, because
the one that we just had.
Yeah, which was
which
excellent.
was really good.
I'm anxious to see what you think about this.
Yeah,
so let's
give it a go.
You know,
how many single barrels does La Maison du Whiskey put out each year?
Every year they do. It's in the early years, going back to the mid.
Are we about to bottle kill this?
We are bottle killing this. But the best part about that is I get another horsey to put on the shelf.
Oh, God.
So
still, I can't. Nope. Is that how you do it?
Yeah, that's how you do it.
Try to tilt it in there.
There you go.
There you go. Horsey down. Okay. All right. So this is 100. Oh.
So early years they did between 2 and 3 barrels.
So this
more recently 6 or so.
So this leans away from the cherry and gets more into vanilla caramel.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. This is way different, and it even comes off a little bit lighter here.
Yeah, I was gonna say a little lighter,
Yeah, see, I don't enjoy that as much as the last one.
No,
this is good, but
this isn't something that if I poured it for you blind, you would pick out and distinguish above other.
Yeah, this is one that would definitely fall behind some other really good.
Which is
bourbons.
disappointing to me, because every one of the recent releases of from La Maison du Whiskey have been fantastic. Like, absolutely.
So you think it was just an off year, maybe,
well,
or an off pick?
I think this is an off bottle or barrel rather. The other varieties I've not tried, but I have to assume that one of the 6 or 7 or how many they did this past year are probably pretty darn good. So this one here it's not bad. It's just
this tastes like a run of the mill, just a good Buffalo Trace product.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's it's what it is. So.
All right, on to the next one. All right, guys. So next up we have this little gem from 1994. This might be another bottle kill here. We're just killing bottles.
We
today.
have a theme.
Yeah, this one looks a little cloudy too. What's going on down there? Oh, I see oak bits. That's how you know it's good. That's how you know it's good. There you go. You get to look at that on the bottle cam there. Tell us a little bit about this one.
This is just a classic Dusty Funk bottle. It's mid 90s Blantons are exceptional. Early 90s are probably my favorite. But 94, 95, those are great as well. And this is right about the time they were switching from the charcoal filtering to the chill filtering. So it's hard to say exactly what happened with this particular bottle, but there's something different about these. It's not the same Blantons that we drink today. All
right, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna pour this, we're gonna sip it, obviously give you some notes, but while we're sipping this, Dom's gonna show us some of his, I guess, a little bit more limited bottles that you probably have maybe seen in only photos, but he has them here. We'll talk a little bit about the history of them before we get into the Hazmat. So let's pour it.
Yeah, sounds great. We're back. I got cherry again, right off the bat.
Yeah, but this is like cherries that somebody left in the basement.
Right? Oh, not rotten cherry. It's like aged.
It's an aged
like grandma's
cherry.
Strawberry or cherry jam. Yeah.
It's like cherries that you're eating in grandma's laundry room.
Can we stop talking about grandma?
But I don't know. It's got that smell. I don't know how to describe it.
I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing that how dust has a smell, but it does.
It does. It does. It's almost. I don't think mildew is the word.
No,
because it's not mildew. But it's that old. There's just something about it.
Oh,
you know what? Even though that's a super low proof, I like that better than the La Maison du Whiskey we just had.
Oh, me too. And I got like an apple or something.
Pear.
Pear.
That's exactly what it is.
Pear.
It's pear. Pears and cinnamon and cherry. Dude.
That's a good one.
That might be the most interesting one we've had. That's really different.
Even going back to previous times, we've done your show.
And it's got those oak bits.
It's delicious. A little bit of a crunchy blend.
I'm going to give you a bill from my dentist, by the way.
What we're going to talk about here is the Frankfurt 200th edition. So this was a special release that was done for the celebration of Frankfurt, Kentucky's bicentennial, which happened in 1986. And so this bottle is interesting because it's the only time a horsey topper didn't appear on the bottle. It was a plastic sort of...
That's true. There's this plastic... So is this...
That's the courthouse in Frankfurt,
That's the
Kentucky.
Frankfurt courthouse.
Yep.
Then obviously you have the shape of Kentucky here with the Frankfurt, the 200 for the 200th year.
There is a debate. So you asked me earlier about sort of like, do I ever get feedback from people and stuff? There's a little bit of a debate in the community about this bottle. Is it Blanton's? Because it says nowhere on the bottle or the hang tag, it says nowhere Blanton's. It does not have the name Blanton's. And clearly, no horsey topper. So it's using the same bottle, but is it Blanton's? I say yes, because it was manufactured, produced, distilled at the Buffalo Trace Distillery. Clearly, they used the Blanton's bottle to commemorate it. Right?
Even this little detail here, the wax runneth over. You don't see that very often.
No, that's a little bit Maker's Mark.
This is a little Maker's Markian.
Yeah.
Good thing it's not red.
That's right.
There'd be lawsuits flying everywhere.
Interestingly enough, there's a chapter in my book about the lawsuits between Makers and Blanton's.
I bet you see the 200th. There you go. See the 200th logo on there. And it is it's something I didn't notice, that it does not say Blanton's anywhere on this bottle. It's got all the makings of a Blanton's. Yep. It's got the script. Yep. It's got the beautiful bottle shape. It's got the wax.
And it was the first time they used the Blanton's no paper label, right? The embossed or what I don't know what the word is.
Where it's actually like gold foil stamped on here.
Yeah, absolutely. So
there you go, guys. Little unicorn from the collection.
Yeah, so that's a good
All right, what else you got for us? All right, well, this looks fancy.
Yeah.
What do we got? What's
This
this
is
one?
pretty cool. This is one of my one of the things I collect is first year bottles, and this is a first year, actually probably first day, but I'm not 100% sure about that. So we'll say first week. Blanton's Gold. Blanton's Gold.
So when you say first week, you mean this is the first week Blanton's Gold was ever bottled?
Was ever bottled. Yep,
Wow.
that's right. And so we're going back to July.
Let's get that on the old bottle cam there.
July of 1992, and so this originally the Blanton's Gold went to Japan only. Of course, later on it was expanded within additional international markets, and then finally came to the United States recently, a few years ago. But yeah, this is a first week, possibly first day bottle of that, and it's probably delicious. I would love to try it. But
Is this a bottle you won't open?
no, unfortunately, and so many people probably in the comments are going to mention, why don't you open them? Well, the problem is the taste probably just doesn't exceed the value of them, and that's the problem. I'd love to try all these, but the value is what it is, and you just can't crack something that's sometimes worth that much. And
I get it.
I've got a museum. I get it. It's a crime. It's a shame. But I do open a lot of bottles that I have duplicates of, as you've seen tonight, and so
That's very cool, though.
yeah.
Very cool. All right, guys, wait to hear about this bottle because I had no idea this dude existed. Tell us a little bit about this gentleman that's on this box here.
Well, this is Yujiro, and this dude is often known as the Elvis of Japan, at least according to his Wikipedia. And so he apparently was a pretty popular singer back in the 70s, 80s, and they did a commemorative edition for him in the early 90s. And so this is Yujiro. I'm sure you can check out his music on Apple Music or what have you. But yeah, it was really cool. Special box. Very interesting. You read the label on here, read the, sort of got that Japanese English translation, little oddities, things like that. But just a special Japanese commemorative edition to a dude who was pretty popular in Japan, apparently. And this is, I think, the first, outside of the Frankfurt 200th release, this is really the first commemorative edition we've seen from Blanton's in the 90s. And
To commemorate a person.
Well, yeah, right, which is, I think, the only time it's been done. But also, I think this was reflective of the ownership of Takara. First, they bought 20% ownership of the company.
Okay.
And then eventually bought out the company entirely, Age International. And so this is really their influence happening in the early 90s where they started having special releases for Japan, and this is one of them.
Can I just Photoshop your face on this box?
I would love that. If we could do that, I would love that.
I'm totally doing
I would love a Blanton's box with
Blanton's vibe with your face on it?
That'd be great.
All right, next up are these two. What makes these two so unique?
So at first glance,
they look normal, but I am proud to say I did kind of notice something weird about these bottles.
He did. You passed the test.
I passed
which
the
is
test.
really the tater test, if you want to be honest.
All right, so I'm a tater again. It's the proof of these. Generally, we know Blanton's to be 93 proof, but these are 92 proof. Why?
And you know what? If anybody out there knows, tell me, because nobody knows. Buffalo Trace doesn't know. I don't know. It was early 1990s, and they released 92 proof, which is only one proof point below the standard 93 proof. And it doesn't make sense. And nobody knows why. Back then, there was a bourbon glut. They couldn't get rid of it. There was too much bourbon. So it wasn't like they were watering it down, trying to stretch it a little more. Nobody knows. And it wasn't one time. It wasn't like the single time it was released. There's multiple dump dates for about 2 or 3 years in the early 90s that had this 93 proof, all that seemingly went to Japan, or at least that's where bottles have surfaced. Very rare, very weird. More of an oddity than I think a valuable collectible.
That's crazy.
But yeah, it's just it's bizarre and nobody knows why.
All right, so we have three kind of oddities that probably would have never seen these in my life unless, came over to Dom's house. So we have 3 bottles here, and you'll see them in the close-ups. Let's talk about the first one.
Yeah.
This, you said, is a German bottle.
Yeah.
And why was this one bottled?
This is for readers. It was made available to readers of a German magazine, which I won't try to butcher the pronunciation, but there's actually a commemorative letter that came with it, which is interesting. On the front side, it's I believe the editor of the magazine has written in German, and the back side, it's Harlan Wheatley, the master distiller, has a note. But that's a German release. It was done, 2009 or so. I can't remember the exact date. But yeah, that was an oddity that that went to the German market, and I think there was quite a few barrels of this one. There's 6 or 7 barrels at least.
And then we have this one that says the Collection 2012 limited edition, specially selected and bottled for centennial celebration of the gift of trees.
Yeah, so this one commemorates the gift of the cherry trees to Washington, D.C. from Japan. And there's very little information about this. I'd love to know more about this bottle. But there was only 1 barrel produced, so probably 200 to 230 bottles total back in 2012. And it's just got a cool label, and it obviously has a Japanese influence with that cherry blossom gift of trees.
Label, yeah.
So it's kind of a rarity.
How hard was it to find that one?
It was difficult. I mean, I'm aware of maybe 5 others that exist of this bottle with other collectors. There's probably more that I'm not aware of, but for the most part, yeah, these are all kind of rare.
And then you have this last one, which is pretty it's pretty right in your face what this one's about. This is all about Greece. It has some Greek architecture on here, some statues. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about this one.
Yeah, this one here is a straight from the barrel release, and so this was released back in 2018 in Europe. And it was, we don't believe it was released just within Greece itself. We have numerous bottles that carry a UK alcohol sort of import sticker on them. Just an oddball. They released a theme that had to do with ancient Greece and decided to make a label around it. And this would be the most common one out of sort of the 3 we're seeing here. But
cool.
It's supposed to be delicious. I've never had it.
And straight from the barrel, huh?
Yeah, it's supposed to be excellent.
Now we're into a type of bottle that every tater goes crazy for, and that does not, that's not exclusive to Blanton's, but it's an anniversary bottle. This is the 30th anniversary of Blanton's bottle. I can only imagine how hard it was to get this bottle.
It was, you know what, they did release them only in Japan, and they did quite a few of them. But yes, they are
all Japanese writing on the tag.
Yep.
Interesting.
They're dwindling in numbers, and interesting enough, the 40th anniversary was this year, and I don't know that we're seeing a 40th anniversary bottle. I'd love to see it if they did.
If there was, would you try to get it?
I would travel across the world in search of that barefoot to get that bottle. So
of course you would.
Yeah, all right.
But so far, no 40th anniversary.
Not that I've heard, and I don't have any insider information either. So
as far as the stats on this one, there
was multiple barrels. I don't know the exact production numbers, but it was a higher production. It was certainly not.
And this is a 93 proof.
93 proof.
This is a 93 proof.
I did try this. I did have multiple versions of this bottle. One of them I opened, and it was exceptional. It was one of the better Blantons I've had. Yeah.
Damn. Okay.
Yep. Sorry.
All right, I have a couple more. All right, guys, next is a pretty special bottle, and when Dom came over the first time we did a live stream together, he brought one of these over, but that was an empty bottle, and those were just mainly served as gifts, but I'll let him kind of tell what this bottle is about. But this is actually full. There's whiskey in here. This is a sterling silver, completely covered in sterling silver Blanton's bottle with a very special gold horsey top. I mean, it's
24 karat gold.
24 karat gold. This thing is beautiful. I want to tell a little bit about the lineage of this and why they created this.
They did it was the early 90s, and the owner of the distillery at the time decided to do a commemorative run of about anywhere from 115 to 150, sources vary on that, of these sterling silver bottles. And so effectively they produced them. Most of them went to Japan. Most of them were given to top retailers of Blanton's in Japan as a gift, and they came with a commemorative display case and a box and so forth. Only about 15 of them are known to exist and have surfaced with collectors such as myself. So I have 2 of them, this one and one that is empty, that is the prototype for the sterling silver, not prototype for the entire bottle. So both of those are my collection, and they're fantastic. They're super rare. They're obviously the most valuable Blanton's bottles known, but it's one of those things that kind of gets taters like myself pretty excited.
This thing feels like it's 1,000 pounds.
Yeah, I think it's 22, 23 ounces of sterling silver empty.
The best thing though about this bottle, though, if you drop it, most likely it's not going to break.
Yeah, I mean you might get a little dent, but
you might actually do some damage to whatever you drop this on.
And guarantee the bourbon inside doesn't taste good. Yeah. Guarantee on this one.
You think so?
No way. I mean, it's been aging in sterling silver. I don't think that's known as a. Yeah,
that's true. That's a good point.
Well, not aging. It's not aging in the bottle, but interacting with the bottle.
Kind of like maybe what lead did with those, those early decanters.
Oh yeah. Makers or
all right, one of the most rare. Oh, it even smells funky. Yeah, it smells like old silver.
I'm taking this away.
Yeah,
from
take it away from him. Get it out of here. All right, guys, and last but not least, while you're maybe watching this video, the time has come to try the highest proof Blantons ever bottled. But first, before we get into the taste, let's get into the history.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about these.
I'm really excited. Generally, I'm not that excited to try another Blanton's, but this is super exciting for me. So what you have in front of you here are two examples of what is called My Only Blanton's. My Only Blanton's was a private barrel pick, essentially, that was done for Japanese consumers, wealthy Japanese consumers, back in 2006, 2007 timeframe. And so in that barrel pick, there was only, I think, 7 barrels done for one of these varieties and maybe 5 for the other. And so very, very limited. But they also had the highest proof Blanton's ever bottled, 141.9 proof. And so this one here, there was a very limited number, only 1 barrel produced of this bottle, 141.9 proof, and
gosh, it's beautiful.
Only 5 of these labels, this metallic label, have ever shown up with collectors, have ever made it to market or shown up with other collectors. Of those 5, only 2 are from the 141.9 proof, which Buffalo Trace has confirmed to me to be the highest proof ever. So the other one has been opened. And so it was actually a acquaintance of mine, Owen Powell of Neat Bourbon Bar down in Louisville.
Great place, by the way.
Awesome stuff. He acquired one, and when he did, I was kind of like, it was mixed emotions, because previously I was like, I had the only 141.9 proof, and then he had his, and he goes, you know what, the wax is kind of cracked, I'm going to go ahead and open it. And I'm like, yes, for 2 reasons. Number 1, hope I get a sample. I did. And number 2, because I still have the only 141.9 proof, then it's still unopened. So super excited about that. But we today, thanks to Owen, get to try this.
Owen, I love you, man. Thank you. Thank you. Owen of Neat,
I've never wanted to.
You're
this is going to be crazy. 141.9.
You're a patron saint of whiskey, my friend. Okay. Oh my gosh. Now, so this is this is 141.
141.9, almost 142.
Has there ever been a 140? Has there any?
No.
Has there been any other bottles that broke Hazmat?
I don't think. No, not over 140. I think the closest was 138 something. Memory serves, but
bottles
but
here.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, man. Here we go.
Oh.
Oh, it smells proofy.
Yeah. Wow.
So the cherry is there, but it's more of a medicinal cherry.
It is very medicinal.
Like cherry cough syrup.
Like I was gonna say cherry Everclear.
Cherry Everclear. Is there such a thing as cherry Everclear?
It's got a. Oh.
Wow.
It does. I mean, it's not bad.
Singes the nostrils.
It's just, yeah. I mean,
it's pretty layered though. I gotta say. I mean, yeah, there's that medicinal cherry there, but there's a lot of oak. There's a lot of, I think, kind of that quintessential like Buffalo Tracy, sweetness that it's got.
You would pick this as a Buffalo Trace product in a lineup for sure.
I think so.
All right.
All right, you ready?
Let's do it.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Wow. Oh. That finish. Wow.
That is hot.
I tell you what. I tell you what.
That is good, though.
It is liquid candy on the front of the palate.
So good.
Right until that ethanol gets you.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
the rhythm is going to get you. And it got me.
Wow.
Damn. The only Hazmat product I've ever had from Buffalo Trace was the George T. Stagg.
Oh, yeah.
The 140 something proof from 2016,
17?
2016, 17.
Yeah, somewhere. Yeah.
I think that's, but this.
Wow. Yeah.
What's do you know the age on this? Or?
I don't. There's no documentation other than, I mean, I think that it generally said 6 to 8 years, but it's probably 9.
So once your palate gets through the flames in the beginning.
Oh, yeah. Whew.
It's liquid candy.
Tastes like burning. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. It really is. It is. It's
fantastic.
If you're a I'm a straight from the barrel guy. Like,
yeah.
All day long, like high proof. I could drink that.
But I mean, this is.
It's not overwhelming.
I've had a few straight from the barrels, and those are very good.
Let's crack it.
This is. Let's what?
Let's crack it.
Crack what?
Keep going. Oh, no.
You're not gonna open that, are you?
Okay.
Well, I do want to show the box that it comes in. So it does come in this My Only Blanton's box. which is really cool. It's got the slide up.
Thank you again, Owen.
Yeah, Owen, absolutely amazing for sharing this. There's the shot there. You can kind of take a look at both bottles there with the box. This is delicious.
And what's interesting, this one here, even a lower proof, this version of My Only Blantons is actually, this one's more rare. Or rarer, I should say. It's
this is the more rare one?
Yeah, it's basically, there's only, I believe, 3 of these known. One of them is in the Buffalo Trace Vault. One of them is right here in front of you. And another one is with a collector who will remain anonymous, who's not really much of a collector, even a Blanton's. He just happens to have a bottle he got from Japan on a trip or something. And so there's only 3 of these I'm aware of. So this is actually probably my most rare bottle.
This is your most rare right here?
Yeah, even though it's not, I wouldn't say the most valuable or the prettiest.
Bye. Okay. But I mean, yeah, but I gotta say, there's something about this and the gold bar that's around this, and this is metal. It's beautiful.
Do you know the nickname for this bottle? It's
what?
Called the Chastity Belt bottle. No, seriously. And I mentioned it in the book. It's the Chastity Belt Blantons.
The Chastity Belt Blantons.
Yep.
Yeah, I could see that. Guys, if you can see the back here.
It has a screw.
It literally has a screw going in the back that's holding the Chastity Belt on. Unbelievable. Dude, what can I tell you? This is
pretty epic.
Unbelievable collection. Thank you so much for sharing this. I could still feel the heat from this damn bottle.
Yeah, that thing. You still got a little.
That thing hits.
A little nip.
I got a nip. I'll keep taking.
No, this is great. Here. Thank you for coming to see the basement. I know that Blanton's is not your passion, but I appreciate the fact that you appreciated coming to see.
But I appreciate seeing other people's passions, and when you work hard at something and you put your all into it, like everybody should.
Thank you.
This is what could happen. So,
that's great.
Respect, man.
And for all your viewers, blantonsbook.com is where you can get the book. WarehouseH.com is my primary website. I sign all copies that are sold from my website, and so love for you to check out the book. And
I gotta say, these specialty bottles is what really kind of gets me. I do wish, if there's anybody from Takara watching, can you please send us some older Blantons so we can have some?
I'd love some.
Thank you, appreciate that. And with that said, like I always say, it's not about the whiskey; it's the people you share with. Thanks again to Dom. Cheers, man. And,
cheers.
We'll see you. We'll see you soon.
Give me a little nip of that. Thank you.
Oh, you're out already?
There we go.
There you go.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.